to the True Love Secrets Revealed. Today, we have the true pleasure to have with us Roy Biancalana. Roy is a certified relationship coach, author of three number 1 best-selling books, and the host of the Attracting Lasting Love podcast. Today, he is going to be sharing his wisdom about getting ready for something real. Welcome, Roy. It's a
Yeah,
true
it's
pleasure to have
great,
you.
great to be with you, Natalie. I appreciate the opportunity to connect with the audience.
Oh my goodness, you are welcome. It's so exciting to have you. So let's start right away with our interview, with our questions. So based on your experience of 15 years helping single people to find love, that's a long time.
It is.
I heard that you have discovered the key to attracting lasting love. Will
Yeah,
you mind sharing what is that all about?
yeah, yeah. I think it really is the key, or in keeping with the title of what we're doing, the secret. Um, and it's also what I consider to be the biggest mistake that people make. So it's kind of all wrapped up in one. And really, what it is, it's a mindset. The mindset
Mm.
is the key. That the secret is the way you're approaching the idea of how do I find my life partner? It's kind of like, how do you answer that question? So it's really about the mindset, or you could say the state of consciousness that a person is bringing to that question. And so I think the best way to reveal this secret is with a bit of an analogy. Okay. So if
Okay.
you'll permit me, let's just imagine that the viewer, the person that wants to find their life partner, let's imagine that you want to compete and do very well in a triathlon, right?
Mm.
Triathlon is an incredible endurance race of swimming, biking, and running. It's an all day thing, it's incredibly intense. So let's say you want to compete in that and you want to do very well. Let's also kind of assume, which is not true, that I am a retired triathlon champion. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm a champion triathlete. Now I'm retired and I coach people on how to be successful in triathlons. So you come to me because you want to do well. I'm an established champion. Say, Roy, would you coach me on how to do well in my triathlon? I said, sure, I'd love to. So we sit down and we start talking, and you start asking me questions that I could put in the category of, you're asking me about race day, questions
Mm.
about the day of the race, like how do I survive in the water in the beginning because it's a frenzy? How do I transition from running to biking and then biking to the marathon? I'm out there all day. So, how much do I eat? What do I eat? You're on the course. Where do I speed up to make up time? Where should I conserve my energy? And as a coach, what I'm thinking to myself is, okay, those are important questions. Those are good questions. You're asking me about the strategy of the day of the race. But as a former champion, inside, I'm like, this is not what you should be asking me about. You're, you're asking the wrong questions, or at least those questions are premature. What you should be asking me about is, Roy, how do I get my butt in shape for something like this? Because I can have the best strategy in the world. But if I get on that starting line and I'm 50 pounds overweight, I'm not going to make it 50 yards in the water, right? So no matter how good my strategy is, if I'm not in condition for this,
Right.
then I'll never go the distance. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
here's the connection. People come to me as a relationship coach and they start asking me questions about race day, meaning the questions that I get very often: where do I go to meet someone?
Mm.
What online platform should I use? How should I present myself online, my profile, my pictures? If I meet someone, how do I get them to approach me, or how do I approach them? What do I say? How do I flirt? What do I wear? And as a relationship coach, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, those are important questions. They're good questions, but they're not what you should be asking me. You
Right.
should be asking me, how do I get in shape for this relationship? Because you can have the best strategy in the world to meet someone. You can know the best places to go. You can know all the right things to say. You can know how to play the game and have the best profile and you have all of that. But if you come to the starting line in a relationship, which is that moment when you're standing face to face with this person for the first time, whether you met them online or through the normal course of events in life, when you're standing right in front of someone, that's your starting line. If you are not in great relationship shape, you're not going to go the distance. I don't care how great your strategy is. I don't care how cute your outfit is. I don't, I don't care where you've met them. If you are not internally prepared and in shape, then the relationship is not going to progress and it's not going to go the distance. So the secret is to drop the question, where do I meet this person? How do I,
Mhm.
what do I say? Where do I go? How do I approach? Drop all of the strategy and simply look in the mirror and say, am I ready for something real? Am
Mm.
I ready to go the distance? Now, here's the real hard part. Okay. Because you think you are. Because people think, oh,
Right.
I'm ready. The reason my love life has sucked in the past is because of all the people that I've chosen. It's them. And I'm here to tell you, it ain't them. You chose them. Don't hate me. Don't hate me here. The mistake people make is not only do they think about where do I meet someone instead of am I ready for something real, they overestimate themselves. They
Mm.
don't they don't maybe recognize I've got some baggage to let go of. I've got some communication skills that I need to develop. I need to become more emotionally intelligent. I
Right.
need to become better ready for intimacy. I need to identify my limiting beliefs, my relationship personas. I need to identify how my childhood and the way I've been raised has impacted my ability to be close, to be able to trust, to be able to be vulnerable, right? So
Right.
most people, when they look at the trajectory of their love lives and it's not very good, which is the people listening to me right now, if you were in a great relationship, you wouldn't be listening to us. Right. So you
Right.
don't have a great relationship history. Join the crowd. If I shared my story with you, oh my God. Okay. But most of us think my love life isn't good because I haven't met the right person yet. And that's just never the case. Never, ever, ever has a person's love life not been the way they want it because of the other person.
Mm.
Always something unconscious to us that we are not aware of that is either attracting that dysfunctional person
Right.
or is somehow showing up, setting up a dynamic where something unhealthy or unfulfilling can take place. So,
Mm.
the whole key to changing the trajectory of your love life is to begin to question, what do I need to work on? How am I sabotaging myself? What do I need to let go of? What
Right.
skills do I need to develop? The focus has to be on yourself. But the ego doesn't like this. The ego really likes to make it be about, oh, the men out there these days, they're just a bunch of what? Or the women out there, they're just a bunch of that. And the online dating scene and oh, the dating world. And we villainize everything else in the world, which keeps us from saying, okay, maybe men are men, maybe women are women, maybe the online thing is what it is. But maybe I'm missing something about me, which brings me,
Mhm.
just to wrap up this little rant.
No, great.
There's an old mystic poet. Maybe many people have heard of this guy. His name is Rumi. He lived in like the 13th century. Okay. So he's not familiar with online dating. He's not familiar with anything, in our culture or in our modern world. He lived like 700, 800 years ago. But he said something that is unbelievably profound. And he said this, and to me anyway, he said it to single people who are looking for a relationship. This is what he said: your task is not to find love. That's not it. That's not your task. He said, your task is not to find love, but instead to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. See, so Rumi knew 800 years ago, you're not single because you met the wrong person. You're single because somewhere in you, you are keeping yourself single. You are sabotaging yourself. You have put barriers up between you and the kind of relationship you want. So the whole secret, the whole key to attracting a life partner is to wake up to that fact and to begin to say, what do I need to work on? What am I missing about myself? What do I not know about myself that is attracting these problems and these wrong partners and, these problems and patterns and pain over and over and over again? That's the message that I want to bring, because if you get that, then like the marathon runner, you start working on the most important thing first. Get yourself in shape, then we can talk about your strategy, right?
Right.
Get yourself relationally ready for something real. Okay, then we can talk about where to go on Friday night. But frankly, you won't even need to, because when you are really ready for something real, we're always attracting something in our lives, right? We're
Right.
either attracting nobody or we're attracting the wrong people. So you're always going to be attracting. The healthier you are, the healthier you attract. So it's like you don't even need to talk about where do I go, how do I attract, where do I meet someone. You just need to get your magnetic vibration in a healthier, more evolved place. And you will automatically begin to see the changes in the types of people and the type of dynamics you attract. So that's my message, Natalie. It's work on yourself. Don't worry about where to meet someone.
Right.
And that's where you and I come in, right? I mean, I know that sounds very self-serving. I work with people who recognize that and say, okay, Roy, can you be my relationship fitness trainer? Can you get my relationship butt in shape? I'm like, hell yeah. That's what I do as a coach. So I get people ready for something real. Does that make sense?
That was amazing, Roy. That was incredible. I loved it. I love the analogy of the triathlons. I have done a few Ironman. I am a
Oh,
marathon
you have.
runner, so
Yeah.
I ate that. You were
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
talking my language here. It's so true. And I had no idea where you were going to go with this. And I just loved it. I believe I agree with you. And thank you for sharing that. It's
Right.
so important. Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Yeah,
Another quick little point on this, which will be very fun for people, and it's kind of provocative, but we're all familiar with the idea of the law of attraction, right? And that's
right,
everybody talks about law of attraction, law of attraction. Here's the thing about the law of attraction. When you really understand it, the law of attraction should scare the hell out of you. Okay. Because of this. All that it means is like attracts like. That's what it means. I know there's lots of fluff and new age weird stuff about it. It just means birds of a feather flock together. It means you attract after your own kind. Like attracts like. So the law of attraction it can work for you if you're in great relationship shape. Because
Right.
the law of attraction says you will never attract a partner who is healthier than you are. You will always attract a partner who is on the same level of conscious evolution as you. Always.
Right.
You'll never attract someone who's less evolved than you, never more. You're always going to attract according to your level of consciousness. Okay? So
Mm-hmm.
if you've got some stuff to work on, if you've got some baggage, some trust issues, if you're emotionally unavailable, if you don't know how to communicate well, right? If you,
Right.
whatever sort of dysfunction we might bring in our ability to connect in healthy intimacy, we're going to attract someone who is going to match us with their kind of dysfunction.
Right.
So then the law of attraction is working against you. It's going to bring unhealthy dynamics. But the good news is, like I was saying, if you get in better relationship shape, then you automatically attract healthier people. And now the law of attraction works for you. Okay. So you never decide to use the law of attraction, it's using you. Like,
Mm.
if it's a law of the universe, like gravity, you don't get to choose to use gravity.
Right. No, believe me.
Right? Go up on a building and jump off and say, "Well, today I am not using the law of gravity," and see how that goes when you hit the cement. Okay, it's always operating. So the law of attraction is always operating. You don't get to use it or not use it. No, it's using you.
Yes.
You're either going to get in alignment with it and say, "Man, I want to do my work. I want to be this most awakened, evolved, consciously, mindfully functioning human being that I can be." Because when I'm like that, I'm going to attract someone who is also on that level. And now we're in business, right?
Right.
If I got a lot of drama in me and a lot of past baggage and hurt, and if I got all that junk, I'm going to attract someone else who's got their junk. And then we're going to do that. And
Yes.
we've all done it. I mean, I could spend an hour telling you stories of the kinds of women and dynamics I attracted
Yes.
before I woke up to this. I always thought it was, oh, my ex-wife, oh, she's this, oh, my ex-fiance, oh, she's this, and all you women online are nut jobs, you know. So I kept pointing a finger of blame until my coach said, dude, you got something going on that's responsible for all of that. So do you want to wake up to what you're doing to attract these kind of dynamics, or do you want to just keep blaming women? Which way do you want to go? Right. And for whatever reason, I was willing to look in the mirror, and lo and behold, I did discover I had a lot of mommy issues. I had terrible communication skills. I was terrible at the emotional intelligence. I had all kinds of things that were responsible for my crappy love life. It really wasn't all them, right? I mean, my ex-wife had her problems. My ex-fiance did too, right? No, okay. But I discovered that if I didn't have going on inside of me what was going on inside of me, none of it would have turned out that way,
Right.
right? So that shift, that's the shift that if we make that, and then when you make that shift, 99 times out of 100, people need help waking up. You know, Rumi said, seek and find the barriers within yourself that you've built against love. Well, if
Yes.
we knew what they were, we'd have fixed them a long time ago. The problem is we don't know what they are. So most people need a really good coach or sometimes therapist to ask the right questions,
Right.
to poke in the right places, right? So that things begin to surface. You begin to have these aha moments. Oh, I didn't know that I was believing this about men or women or myself. I didn't know I had this relationship persona. I didn't know that I had this childhood wounding, which is what I really discovered. I had a real dynamic with my mother that was playing itself out in
Mm.
all my adult relationships with women. I didn't know it was there. I needed a coach to help me open up to discovering that. And then once I found my mommy issue, I could fix it pretty easily. I just didn't know it was there, right?
Right.
These things are like the Wizard of Oz. He's behind the curtain and he's turning the knobs and he's pulling the levers and controlling everything, and you don't know it, right? So that's the journey. And I just find most people need someone to help them
Yeah.
wake up to their self-sabotaging behaviors.
Right. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing some of your personal experience.
Oh,
And yes, I mean, I agree with
I've
you.
made every mistake, and nobody hearing my voice can say they've done something stupid that I haven't done. I'm telling you, it's the truth.
Well,
I still
I'm
do
glad.
something, but
Yeah. Well, we are just humans, never ending. But I love, so thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I really, really like that you shared that about the law of attraction, because I don't think it's spoken enough. And it's really, really important to understand that. And also another pitfall on the law of attraction, the one that I got trapped 20 years ago when I started with the law of attraction, when the book The Secret came out.
mm,
um, I remember I got trapped on the waiting. I was kind of on the negative side of the feminine energy. I have always been feminine energy, but I was waiting because I just thought that having a vision board and, you know, a visualization and meditating on it and all that, I thought that that was going to make me magnetize the right men, the right things. And I mean, I'm not very proud to say that I spent like a good year sitting on my chair, basically doing all the inner work, but not taking action. So I don't know if you have something to add to that, or if that's
yeah, just a personal experience of mine in that regard, and it ties into the law of attraction.
right.
So when I look at my love life, one of the best things you can do for yourself is look back over your relationships and see if you can identify some sort of pattern,
Right.
some way, although the men or the women with you might be different, but there's some real similar, like it's the same relationship, different person, same dynamic.
Right.
So as I did that, what I discovered is I kept getting in situations where I was attracting women who were successful professionally. In fact, they had high powered careers. They made good money. They had a lot of responsibility. They worked a ton of hours, but they were single moms and
Mm,
they were incredibly overwhelmed with their life. They
right.
they just couldn't do it all. They couldn't work 60, 70, 80 hours a week and raise two children and manage a household. And so I don't use this term pejoratively, but they were like damsels in distress. They were
Mm,
just overwhelmed with stuff. I kept attracting women that were like that all the time. And I used to complain to my coach, but why do women want me to do everything and rescue them and take care of things? And that's when I discovered, because my coach really probed me about my relationship with my mother. I learned at a very early age. My mom was very perfectionistic, kind of very demanding. In order to be close with my mother, to feel affection or attention,
right.
I needed to do it her way. I
Mm,
needed to know what mom's agenda was. And if I made my life be about making her happy and taking care of her and meeting her needs, then I felt warmth and attention and affection. But if I thought about myself, if I had my own wants, my own needs, my own thing, then I felt a lot of distance. I felt
mm,
judgment. I felt harshness. And so, what little boy doesn't want to be close to his mother? So, I
yeah.
learned at a very early age, this is all unconscious, of course, but I learned at a very early age, well, Roy, the way you get close to a woman is about making your life be about taking care of hers.
Right.
So, I became Roy the rescuer. That was my persona. I had this internal belief that a woman would want me if my life was devoted to taking care of theirs. Right?
Mm. Right.
So now, when I move in the world with that mentality, that inner belief system, that relationship persona, what kind of women will I attract? Women that need to be taken care of.
Right.
If I'm a rescuer, I've got to find the damsel because I can't play my game. And this happened to me in my love life. I was online dating and stuff. I met a lot of women, beautiful women, right? Great women. We didn't have any chemistry. There was no spark because I was showing up with kind of a Roy the Rescuer energy.
Mm.
And these were women who had great careers and maybe they were single mothers. And although they would love support and a partner, right, and all that, they were managing their lives okay. Like they had their shit together, right? They weren't overwhelmed and falling apart and oh my God, I can't do it all. I'm hurting. 911. Well, those kind of women, hey, that was my wheelhouse. Oh, baby, if you need someone to take care of you, you dial 911, I'm gonna be there because that was my unconscious pattern, right?
Right.
Well, I never had chemistry with women that sort of had their shit together.
Mm.
I had chemistry with the women who sort of didn't because I didn't, right?
Right.
So if I ask my coach, how do I attract women that have their shit together? She said, that's the wrong question, dude. As long as you're a rescuer, you'll never be attracted to her and she won't be attracted to you.
Right.
Rescuers have to find damsels. You'll do this the rest of your life, Roy, unless you stop being a rescuer. You got to get at your mommy issue. Your mom had some issues. You got to separate from some of that and recognize you don't have to be good boy Roy in order to get a woman to like you. Right? You can show up as a whole person, right? Have your wants, your needs, your desires be just as important as hers, and not be in this mentality that you won't like me or want to have sex with me unless my whole life is just about taking care of you, baby. Whatever you need, baby. So I'm telling you, within the first 2 weeks of a relationship, you're going to think I'm lying. I'm not lying to you. Within 2 weeks, I'd be cleaning her house,
Oh my goodness.
raising her children, getting them out of bed in the morning, getting them off to school, taking them to soccer practice, doing their laundry, doing the shopping, cutting the grass, washing the car. I would be caring for her entire life. And all she had to do was give me her attention and affection, if you know what I mean. Because
Yeah.
I was in a sexless marriage. So I came out of this marriage. I need a woman that wants to have sex with me. Well, the only way you do that is if you make your life just take care of her so completely,
Right.
you wouldn't have to do anything other than have sex with you because it's all done. So it was just this codependent nightmare. Okay.
Yeah.
But that was the law of attraction working against me.
Yeah.
So I had to stop being a rescuer. So I'm just asking the people out there, what's your pattern and what's your persona? You got one. If you look close, maybe you can resonate that you're a rescuer, a nurse. Women complain, I keep attracting men who are broken down. They're like a broken down car on the side of the road. They look good, but they won't run. So I'm like a mechanic. I fix them up, but then I fix them up and then they drive away. Right? I mean, right? So what's your pattern and what person do you believe you need to be to get a man or a woman or whatever to love you? Once you start to see that, then we can change it. And then the journey in relationships, it becomes the most amazing thing in the world. But I just find, again, to discover these things, you need help because I didn't see it because I was being it.
Right.
You know how your eyeball can't see itself? You need a
Right.
mirror, right? You need
Or
a
the
mirror.
nose.
Right.
I learned the other day that yes, that
Yeah.
our brain selectively, our eyes can see our nose, and the way
Right.
to know it is if you look like this, you
Yeah.
can see it.
The
But
issue is
now,
I was being Roy the Rescuer since I was 4 years old. It was who I thought I thought I was just the world's greatest boyfriend. I thought I was just a nice guy. I
Right.
was being Mr. Mom, not because that's the way love wanted to express itself through my body. I was doing it because I was scared. I was
Right.
doing it to manipulate a woman. I didn't want to do all that stuff, but I
Right.
thought if I didn't do that, I would never get anyone to give me the time of day. So I was doing it from fear. I was doing it from manipulation. So it wasn't authentic. It wasn't real.
Right.
So I have no problem with a guy or a woman that wants to be a Mr. Mom. Fantastic.
Right.
If you're doing it for the right reason.
Right.
But I wasn't. And of course, all my relationships ended up falling apart as I resented them.
Right.
Eventually, I'm
That's
taking
what
care of you
happens.
all the time. Right. Yeah. It's just a nightmare. But I
It's
needed a coach to get out of it.
yes, we do. We all do. We have all gone through that, and yes, it's we need help. We cannot see what we cannot see. It's the blind spot.
Right.
And I love it, and I love the distinction you made between, I call it, it either comes from fear or from love. And if it comes from fear, for sure resentment will build and it won't last. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I love everything you said. You're so eloquent, and
Right.
I love
Thank
it.
you. And I know we're kind of running out of time a little bit here,
Yeah.
and I want to give somebody something for free to help you. And it's right in alignment with what we're talking about. We're talking about getting ready for something real, getting
Hmm.
yourself in relationship shape, right? So if you went to an actual gym and you hired a personal trainer to get you in great shape, the first thing any good trainer is going to do is run you through a bunch of assessments to discover your current fitness level. And then once they know kind of where you are, they can put a program together to get you to where you want to go. Correct? Same way, that's what I do as a coach. You want to get in great relationship shape because that's how you have a happy love life. What is your current relationship fitness level?
Mm.
So I've created something called the Relationship Fitness Self-Assessment Test.
Oh,
Okay. Right.
wonderful.
It's a 30 question true false test. Take you about 3 minutes to take it. Just all true false, but it's quite accurate. And it's going to give you results immediately by email. You put your email in there and you get your results. And it's
Uh-huh.
going to tell you what fitness category you're in. So either you are ripped, nobody's ever scored ripped. That's like for Jesus and Buddha and Gandhi or something. Okay. Nobody's ever been ripped, but you'll be ripped, skinny fat, or unhealthy,
Okay.
overweight, or dangerously out of shape.
Mm.
And I took my own test from the perspectives I had back in the day before I hired a coach, and I scored in the worst category
Oh
because
no.
well, I was a mess. Of course, if I took that test and I scored pretty good, the test is crap because my love life wasn't very good, right?
Right.
So I just say that to people. Don't be surprised if the test reveals that you need to get in better shape. Fine. That's what I can do.
Right.
So either on the screen here, when you show this, or at my website, you can see on the screen, right on the
Yeah.
homepage is my relationship fitness self-assessment test. Take it
Yes.
and just find out, it's not the gospel truth, but just find out my perspective on how ready for something real you are. And if you find that you need to get in better shape, well, then you can follow up with me and I can put a program together to get your butt in relationship shape.
Right.
But the test is free.
Let's do it. I am going to place the link underneath the video and also on the email that I'm going to be sending with your interview. So the link is going to be everywhere, easy to find. And please take that test. It's like 3 minutes, and you are going to have in depth knowledge from a coach that has been doing this for 15 years. So this is very, very unusual that experts have been doing this for this long. So, and he also has 3 books. You
Yeah.
can find them on
You see
his.
all the covers in the background there. That's my first book. That's my second book. And
Okay.
that's my latest book right there. I can't get
Okay.
the screen right.
I'm gonna put them on my reading list. Thank you, Roy. Thank you so much. You were fantastic. fantastic. You blew it off the water. It's wa- completely mind blowing. Thank you. I
Well,
loved it. And
thank
I know
you
you
for
have
having me.